Welcome back for the Week 2 recap. We have 4 games on the slate today that we're going to bounce around to. A few ranked matchups, some rivalry matchups, and just checking in with some teams of interest this year that I think are going to have some big years that we're going to want to keep tabs on. But the first game we're going to Chapel Hill, where number 12 North Carolina is hosting LSU, a top 5 team in the country. Remember, this is an SEC matchup as they're both in the same SEC division this year, so this matchup is going to have even more elevated stakes than just a regular ranked matchup would. North Carolina comes into this game with Georgia transfer Brock Vandagriff at quarterback, and he is definitely looking for some revenge on his former team he transferred away from because he lost the starting quarterback battle twice, and is now at North Carolina looking to reform his career. And the first step is beating a top 5 team in LSU and showing that they are contenders in the SEC. It got a little chippy during pregame between these two teams as North Carolina wanted to come out and establish itself. So we go to the first quarter, North Carolina's first drive, Brock Vandagriff and company, 1st and 10, throw over the middle, they're in the end zone. North Carolina has an early 7-0 lead over LSU. But you guys know LSU is always going to have an answer. Next time that LSU has a chance. It's 2nd and 7, they're down 10-0, about 4:23 left in this first quarter. He's able to find his man on the sidelines, beautiful throw to the Malik Neighbors, one of the best wide receivers in the country, and Garrett Nussmeier had them cooking and got a field goal. LSU down by 7, second quarter. Garrett Nussmeier tries to take his deep shots, and those can lead to some turnovers, and North Carolina was able to capitalize there and drive down the field for another field goal. Time running out in the first half, LSU down by 10, 3rd and goal, trying to punch into the end zone. North Carolina's defense was on point in the first half, holding LSU to 3 field goals as they would hold a 16-9 lead going into halftime. But which team would have the proper response? Well, they traded some field goals to start the half. Garrett Nussmeier and company, 3rd quarter, finding a great sideline route to John Koppenhaver for 22 yards. And the LSU offense was in business. They would need to cash in for a touchdown, though, at some point to make a play. And this time, he's able to find his man, Seth Jones, from 12 yards away. And Nussmeier has tied this game 19-19. North Carolina drives quickly down the field, first play of the 4th quarter, dumps it off to his running back, George Petaway, into the end zone, and North Carolina has a 1-score lead, 26-19. LSU getting into some danger zone now, 4th quarter, 3rd and 17. Nussmeier trying to make a play. He gets taken down by the interior defensive lineman. Huge play from Kendrick Bingley-Jones, his 2nd sack on the day, forces an LSU field goal. Now, LSU needing a stop, 3rd and 13 against North Carolina, want to get the ball back. But Vandagriff fires a dart to the sidelines, finds his man who goes all the way to the end zone. Touchdown Gavin Blackwell from 76 yards out. And Vandagriff delivers on a beautiful throw, capping off a wonderful day. That 2-score lead would be all the margin that North Carolina needed in Chapel Hill, as Brock Vandagriff has a showing out party. 300 yards through the air, 109 yards on the ground, and North Carolina has arrived, and they are a team that Florida State's going to be even seeing next week, so we will get an even closer look at them. Next game, it's a rivalry matchup in the Big Ten between number 2 Michigan and number 17 Notre Dame at Notre Dame Stadium. Michigan comes in as one of the most highly touted teams in the country, hence their number 2 ranking, bringing in a great defense and a veteran quarterback in J.J. McCarthy. This does have some Big Ten implications as well, obviously. They are on opposite divisions this year in the Big Ten, but obviously losing your first conference matchup could definitely set you back for the entire season. So this is a massive one, and Michigan is playing in the same division as Ohio State, so they definitely need to keep up early and establish themselves. And that's exactly what Michigan did in this game. First quarter, first drive, J.J. McCarthy finds Frederick Moore from 7 yards away. Michigan has a 7-0 lead. But Notre Dame, they're led by the transfer quarterback Chandler Morris, who has a lot of hype coming into this year. And early on, Morris was putting a lot on his back, running this one in the end zone untouched, 4 yards away. Notre Dame fans love it. Tie game at 7. But Michigan would have their responses. End of the first quarter, only a minute to go. They find the tight end from Alabama, Robbie Oops, for a 14-7 lead. Michigan offense is cooking. Notre Dame now faces a 10-point deficit. About 4 minutes to go in the first half. play action play to Chandler Morris, and he just throws it right to a Michigan defender. Not what you want to do. Breaks a couple of tackles, gets near the 50-yard line, and that is plenty of time for Michigan as they're able to get down in the red zone, deep in there with about the 1 or 2 yard line, and they punch it in from a yard out. Khalil Mullings' 2-yard touchdown run, and Michigan would run away with this one, based on how good this offense was. For good measure before half, you're already up 24-7, might as well make it 31. Dalvin Smith 3-yard touchdown reception, and that'd be all you need to see in this one, as Michigan was a dominant force throughout, winning 52-7 on a road game at Notre Dame. You're not going to have many more impressive games like that. The Michigan fans who made the trip to South Bend, Indiana certainly were pleased, as this Michigan team definitely looks legit, and the one team in their path is the number 1 team in the country, Ohio State. For Notre Dame, they may not have the biggest of expectations this year. They're a talented bunch led by a very good quarterback, one of the best in the country, but they are going to have to produce more than 7 points in games like this if they want to be a true contender in the Big Ten. We'll see where their season goes from here. Now, a team that I really want to take a look at was USC. They have a new quarterback in Malachi Nelson, and they had a very interesting game in the Northeast going to Boston College. I figured it'd be a good time to check in and see what this USC offense looks like now that they don't have Caleb Williams, and would they still be able to have that massive offensive output that we've been used to with the USC offense in these recent years. But the team to make the first strike was Boston College, led by Emmett Moorhead. Finds a beautiful out route to Tony Johnson, just finding some weak spots in the zone from a yard out. Boston College up 7-0. Then they're in the red zone again. It's a 3rd and 4. Moorhead delivers a beautiful throw to Johnson. He's inside the 5, and it would set up BC for another score. USC already down by 2 scores, but they would make their comeback. It's 14-10 Boston College. USC's Malachi Nelson could not find any kind of room in that Boston College defense, and USC would have to settle for a field goal. It's 16-13, third quarter. Overthrows his man, and Boston College would have to settle for a field goal to go up 19-13 from this point. Another field goal later, Boston College in the fourth quarter puts the finishing touches on this one with a pitch to the outside. They would handily win against USC as Emmett Moorhead and company. He had to throw 65 times, throw for 500 yards, and even run the ball 14 times. The entire offense was built out of Emmett Moorhead, but it built them to an upset victory as the USC offense never got it going. And I think there are some concerns for USC and how the whole season's going to go, especially with a loss like that. Their whole season could definitely get a little turbulent. Last game we're going to look into today, Arkansas at Oklahoma. Arkansas lost to Texas in week 1, and now they have to play Oklahoma. Quite a 2-game stretch to start the season. Let's see how Oklahoma looks with their true sophomore quarterback, Jackson Arnold. He's got them in a 3rd and goal in the second quarter. Not quite able to get in. Arkansas is able to hold them to a field goal and keep this as a 27-14 game. Then in the third quarter, it's still a 13-point game. Arkansas has the ball in the red zone. Malachi Singleton, their new quarterback, is able to use a read option to cut this lead to 6. Oklahoma now has an opportunity, though. 6-point lead. Gavin Sawchuk, who had a phenomenal game, gets into the end zone and gives Oklahoma that 2-score lead again. Pivotal moment, up by 6 for Oklahoma. It's a 3rd and 4. Arkansas needs a stop and somehow to stop a score. Instead, Arnold able to find Sawchuk out of the end zone. 486 yards passing at this point, and that pass sealed the game for Oklahoma. They were able to run the game out from this point in a very high-scoring affair. But Gavin Sawchuk, 159 yards on the ground, 6 more receptions for himself. This Oklahoma offense looked dynamic, and I would definitely not count out Oklahoma. Their game against Texas is surely going to be a high mark on the schedule. Now across the rest of the country. East Carolina beats South Carolina 31-28. Clearly, South Carolina has some things to work out. We already saw UNC's win. Miami won 42-20. They're up to 2-0 and 2-0 in ACC play. Kansas State lost to Auburn 29-28. Auburn's to 2-0, so a good start for the Auburn Tigers. Alabama wins 42-7. Clemson wins 48-3. Georgia wins 52-7, and then NC State wins 42-9, and Florida gets in the SEC win column with a 45-42 win over Mississippi State, so they're off to a good start there, and want to give a congratulations to Miami for beating Georgia Tech. We know that's a very difficult thing to do, especially when you don't know how to win, so there's that. And then in the Big Ten, it was pretty normal schedule and normal scores, except for Indiana losing to North Texas, 31-17. Not what you want to do. Defending champion Buckeyes winning 56-3 over Cincinnati. They're off to a great start. We'll get a look at them pretty early on in the season. Michigan State beats Kentucky 31-10. Middle Tennessee State beats Minnesota 16-7. That sounds off an alarm. That's probably not good. Western Kentucky loses to West Virginia. Louisville beats an FCS team. Iowa puts up 52 points. What a bizarro zone we're in there, but they beat Purdue handily. We saw Michigan's win over Notre Dame. Pittsburgh over James Madison pretty easily. Washington gets a 7-point win over Illinois. They're a team I want to get a look at this year and see them early on and see how that new look Washington team looks. Then in the Big 12, Iowa State handles Toledo 38-10. Very impressive against a very good lower level team. Texas State beats Missouri 45-35. That's probably not a good sign for them. Oklahoma State loses to an FCS team. That's not great, obviously, so definitely a setback for the Cowboys. Texas A&M beats an FCS team 37-7. A&M's looking good. BYU beats Houston 35-25. We already saw Auburn's win over Kansas State. TCU wins 45-19 over Louisiana. SMU pitches a shutout in a 48-0 win. Baylor wins 28-26, so probably a little too close for comfort there. Texas Tech beats UTEP 34-7. And then Texas beats UCLA 45-7. So Texas dominating as usual. Sure, Arch Manning had a very good game, so they're off to a great start there. Colorado won 31-17. Utah wins 56-3. Syracuse beats Fresno State 26-13. Stanford beats Arizona State 31-24. So not a good look for Arizona State. They're continuing their struggles from season 1. San Diego State wins. We saw the BYU win. There's Boston College's upset over USC 28-19. Tulsa wins 27-7 over Colorado State. Not a good look. Charlotte beats Boise State 20-17. So that's a rough look as well. And then Arizona beats UTSA 30-10. Good win for the Wildcats. Louisiana Tech beating UNLV 24-17. And then Oregon beating Wyoming 44-21. And we already saw the Washington win over Illinois. And Nevada beats Washington State 35-21. Not great. And then Oregon State beats Hawaii 20-3. So the Pac-12 looks like a complete wildcard conference at this point. A lot of weird results there. So as we have some more games, we'll be able to start seeing how some conference implications start forming. But off to a pretty good start for the year. The next game for Florida State is playing North Carolina, a team that we saw is very capable. So I believe that game is going to be wild and really cool to see. So definitely make sure you are subscribed to the channel and ready to tune in for that one. I think it's going to be a great game. Seeing Brock Vandagriff versus Luke Kromenhoek in that one. So definitely want to see that. We'll see how Florida State can respond, because I know it's going to sound pretty obvious, but 2-1 is a lot different than 1-2. And if we lose that game against North Carolina, I think our season could take a real rough turn, and the expectations will definitely have to be adjusted afterwards. But gonna have to tune in to find out where we stand on that one. So hope you enjoyed the episode, and go Noles.